good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time you're watching us. This is the Kenya Youth Summit 2020. We're excited to be coming to you yet again this year, though virtually, of course, because of the prevailing situations with COVID, but we still thought it wise to still have the summit. And, as always, we have an amazing panel of, brilliant guys who are going to be just helping us dissect an issue that is on the table this day. And today we're talking about participatory decision making, especially for the young people and the youth of Kenya. How come the youth are not really taking part in a policy and decision making? Yet they are the ones who occupy, the bigger piece of the cake. These are the guys who are mostly adversely affected by the decisions that are made or not made. So we're really going to be looking and diving into this and seeing what kind of solutions we can come up with as far as that is concerned. And here with us today to just help us dive into that, amazing guys. And I'm going to introduce them one by one. So first up, we have Mr. Thomas Nudi. Thomas Nudi is from the Nudi Empire Foundation. And he's a young leader and aspiring professor, which is good because we already have a professor in the house. So maybe we could just start that mentorship here. And he has a passion for leadership and transforming his community. Nudi runs a community-based organization which seeks to impact people positively through community service. He has won several national awards for his exemplary performance and leadership, including the University Student Leaders Award, the Africa Youth Leadership Forum Award, and the Utumishi Bora Award 2019, among other awards. And Mr. Thomas, we are happy to have you here. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Joe. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. And next up is a name and a face that needs no introduction. Honorable Dr. Jeff Kaluyu. This is a person who has actually run for the office of the president in 2017. He's a former presidential candidate. And of course, I'm sure you did interact with him and his manifesto in the media. And we are really happy to have him here today. And apart from being a former presidential candidate, he's a former university dean. He's a former TV and radio program host. He's a Wall Street business executive, and maybe he's going to be telling us a bit about that as we go on. He's a founder of the Dr. Kaluyu Leadership Academy. He's a professor, an author, and ranked as one of the top Black speakers in the US. So you're in for a good treat just by signing in for this summit. So Dr. Kaluyu, karibu sana. Good to have you on board. Asante. Next up, we have Dr. John Ndavula from the St. Paul's University. Dr. Ndavula is a lecturer, an editor, and a creative writer. He has published several academic books, journal articles, and fiction. He is also into TV production and has produced a couple of TV drama and documentary films. He's the editor of the African Multidisciplinary Journal of Research, Kikwetu. And he conducts webinars on emerging issues in communication studies. Dr. John Ndavula, karibu sana. Again, it's good to have you for this session.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Njoki Karaoke, who is the founder of the Njoki Karaoke Foundation. She started her career in the hospitality industry, and she's also the founder of To Cure Africa Conference, which manages events. She's a recipient of the Presidential Order of Service, which is the Uzalendo Award 2020, in recognition of the exemplary service during the COVID-19 period. And she holds a Bachelor of Science in Hospitality and Business Management from Morris Brown College in the USA. Dr. Njoki, karibu sana. It's good to have you in this panel session as well. So we'll just dive right into it and just give a preamble of what we are discussing today. And August 12th of this year, we marked the International Youth Day of 2020. And the theme for this year was Youth Engagement for Global Action. And what we're really seeking to understand today is, do the youth of Kenya really have a voice at the table as far as engagement is concerned? Kenyan youths are facing a myriad of problems. I was just watching one of Dr. Kaluyu's video, when he was doing his campaign. And one of the things he was speaking about is actually to do with the youth unemployment. And I remember in his agenda, one of the things he had promised to do is to at least reduce the Kenyan unemployment among the youth by 6%. So this is really one of the biggest problems you're facing as Kenyans. And of course, from that, comes many other issues. When youth are unemployed, they find their way to crime. They get used by politicians, by big, given small monies just to get by the day. And, the underlying disease is that really the water for the youth is not flowing. And we want to understand today, what are these dams that are, stopping the water to flow for the youth? And I want to just throw this to Dr. Jeff Kaluyu. Where is the issue? Why is the water for the youth not flowing in Kenya?
Well, thank you so much. Definitely, I am very passionate about the youth. And the first thing I said was, first, they need to recognize the power that they have. Before you understand, you cannot get out of jail unless you understand you are locked up in the first place. So to understand yourself and to understand the power you have and the ability to get out of all these situations where you are unemployed, you are not participating, you are discouraged, and you are not motivated to participate. So you need to be, the youth needs to be able to recognize that right away. Now, one of the things that I give example of myself was like, how do you get into power? I decided to run for president because I had seen the youth they were scared of the position. Even not only the president, other positions. You cannot influence power unless you are in the position to manipulate it, to direct it, to mold it, and also to pull the strings that comes along with the power in terms of resources. Also intellectual capacity. I felt I had a lot of assets in terms of intellectual arena where I can give ideas to get youth exposed, not only because I'm well-traveled in many other countries, but also those who are abroad, especially in diaspora, where I challenge them, what they have conceived and they know and they can impart back to Kenya. They need to do it right away as opposed to being just on social media and being on Twitter and everything else. It's good to expose people on all that, but you need at some point get on the ground to be able to bring that wealth of knowledge on the ground. So one of the things, the big thing is that youth are not exposed. You cannot create something that you are not aware of. You cannot be scared and go for power. Of course, risks come along with it. I knew there are risks of running as a president, but I realized that the people I was being told I should be scared of, they were not even concerned. You are only concerned about yourself. They are not even concerned about you. They are concerned about themselves. So I went for the president of the Republic of Kenya without fear, and I wanted youth. One of the things I wanted youth to dream big, so that you do not dream small dreams that are not even achievable. We cannot place our dreams so low that you cannot even jump themselves. And let me give you some quick statistics. And youth is part of Africa. Africa runs about 7 trillion, combined economy in 54 countries. And we have 1.3 billion population. We have an average of 18 years of age, 10% than the rest of the world. Our age is 18. If you average every youth in terms of age, you get 18. And as Dr. Wachira has just said that, there is no power. We realize we are very many, but we are about 65%, did he say, that are under 25. So it means that they have a lot of power. They are able to vote. Now, this is the funniest thing. About 50% of that youth, they are able to get on the internet, and they are able to give their ideas, participate in terms of voting and all that. Now, here's the problem. Not only that, Africa has a lot of wealth of other natural resources, like 12% of the world oil, and we have all the copper and everything else and rainfall in the Middle East. So youth needs to recognize what they have. The final point before I check out is that if you recognize the wealth of knowledge and even the base that we have in terms of age, you are talking of, we will be by 2030 the most actively educating population. because you're in the population of going to school, going to college. So you are talking of people who will be most educated. What does that mean? The most doctors, there will be the most teachers, the professors, the authors, the TV, all what you have right now, we will have the most in the world. In fact, we will be able to write our own rules, to create our own table, dictate the rules, and dictate how we will be treated by the world. Kenya is not an exception. And therefore, the youth needs to recognize the power they have and also recognize how they can manipulate, change the election, choose whoever they want, and change the course of this nation, Kenya.
Amazing. Thank you, Dr. Jeff, for those points. And I like the conversation already. Some of the statistics you're quoting that 65 to 69% of Kenyans are really below the age of 25. That's a huge percentage. It means maybe we are actually really moving into a youth bulge. And, you know, as we know, then numbers should drive decisions. But this is not, and I like what you're saying, the youth need to realize the power they have. But we are seeing a huge disconnect between the numbers and their involvement in terms of decision making. And so I want to just throw this to Dr. Ndavula. You know, having worked with young people on the ground, you know, and having interacted with them, what did you say is a disconnect between the huge numbers we have? And as Dr. Kaluyu has said, these guys, you know, like the other day, there was a feature on the television of how it was called the COVID millionaires, how a lot of money disappeared that was meant for COVID aid. And there was a lot of guys who came. In fact, I think that one trended for a few days. You know, a lot of young people, you know, just channeling their anger. It's called KOT, Kenyans on Twitter, you know, and they have all these brilliant ideas. They are not short of brilliant ideas and solutions. But then when we come to translating that to things on the ground, then we are having a disconnect there. You know, it has been said that youth appear as a block, you know, in terms of statistics, but when it comes to voting, then they go back to their tribal blocks. So what did you say is a disconnect between the numbers we possess of the young people of Kenya and the young people being able to drive solutions in Kenya is concerned?
Thank you very much, Joe. First, to thank you for this session. I'm really excited about this session. Now, I've worked with young people for over 20 years, first as a high school teacher and then a teacher at the university level. I teach at St. Paul's University. And of course, I've also taught across other universities in Kenya. And I think that the two things which are very important to note about the youth. First, most of the youth in their age, they have this phenomenon we call entitlement. You know, they feel entitled perhaps to nearly everything. They feel things should come their way. They do not have to struggle for that. And that's even in the rising cases of things like, you know, mental health and issues like that. Now, having said that, I think the major disconnect is what, of course, President Barack Obama said when he came to Kenya and spoke to the youth. I think there's one person who said, one youth who said, the older generation are not giving us power. They're not leaving chance for us to be in power. And President Obama said, you know, power is not given, it is taken. Now, if you compare that kind of mentality, thinking that they're entitled, so people should leave power for them, then you know, there's no way they would be actively engaged. Now, apart from that, the youth are also lethargic. The self-drive, the self-initiative is very low, especially when it comes to politics. They feel powerless. They feel, and of course, this is not really something of their own making. Maybe they see the process. They see how the electoral processes are grinding down, and they feel perhaps it's not time for them. There's no room for change. So I think, as Dr. Kaluyu has said, then it's you know, for us to have initiatives and forums and perhaps just to you know, plant this seed in the youth that they know you know, they can do something. They can take up these positions. They can channel all their energy to bring change, because there's, you know, the energy, they have so much energy. If you look at social media, for example, and during these COVID times, you've seen how, you know, they're channeling their energy through these social networks. It's about time we think about this energy in a positive way. That would be my contribution for now. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. I like what you're saying, that a lot of young people have been pushed to that place of hopelessness and we could call it apathy, from what they've seen happening and how decisions have been arrived at, in previous years and in previous government dispensations. These guys feel, our voice is not to be heard. I was talking to Dr. David earlier, and I was telling him, I was part of a, public participation survey by a certain organization, and one of the things we were going around asking young people, because one of the ways you can make your voice heard is really attending some of these public participation forums, and putting your voice on the table. And it surprised me that most young people didn't even know that their, public participation forums exist. They are completely ignorant of the existence of the same. So that's like half of them. The other half were like, we know they exist, but we wouldn't dare or we wouldn't care to attend, because we know that whatever contribution we bring to the table, it won't be considered. These guys have already made the decisions for us. So whatever voice we add on there definitely will just be PR and it will not be considered. So I want to throw this to Njoki and really say, and this is coming out a lot in a lot of forums we are attending, a lot of hopelessness, a lot of apathy. And I was just talking to Dr. We actually noticed that we have actually now even moved from a place of apathy to a place of atrophy. Like these guys, it's almost like their limbs are non-functional. We can no longer move. So even when it's brought to us, we are like, no, we are now old, we are now lame, we really can't move with this. So Njoki, what do you think, again, with your experience working from young people, what approach do you think would be key to just move these guys from that place of apathy and hopelessness to really reigniting that fire within them, as Dr. was saying, and saying, you really have the power and you just need to awaken to that power. What practical ideas would you have around this moving, making the youth make that shift?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll speak from my own experience, having worked predominantly with youth in informal settlement. The hopelessness, I believe, has been brought about, of course, due to poverty and a lack of being mentored and being brought up, because you find a lot of the youth in informal settlement are pretty much left to be raised on their own. So they pick up from what they can from the environment. I believe mentorship is one way to pull them out of this apathy and hopelessness. And that's where we have a huge lack of that kind of mentorship. Basically, that's my experience. Like I said, during COVID, I realized that the youth came out in such big numbers and came out very strong, but they didn't have anybody who who didn't believe in them. So there's also that, which contributes to their apathy and hopelessness, is that nobody seems to really want to know what their feelings are or what they believe in and where their strengths are. So in regards to situations like this, when you have like in regards to a pandemic, there was very little collaboration between either government or other, NGOs with the local, either community-based organizations or youth. So basically working together and mentorship. Mentorship, I feel, is a huge need to get the youth out of this kind of situation.
Right. Thank you, Njoki, for that. And I just want to jump straight to Thomas, now that he's a young leader who we've seen has won all these awards. I don't know, do you agree with Njoki as far as mentorship is concerned? What role has mentorship played into shaping you into the kind of leader? I've seen you in action at St. Paul's University. I think we first met at the first summit, and then I think you're the president of the students, the Students' Union. And you've been hailed as one of those excellent young leaders. So what part has mentorship played in that? And do you feel like that is needed, or that's just something that is, good when it is spoken, but...
Thank you, Joe. Allow me to pick it up from where Njoki has left, and also what I love what Dr. Kaluyu has said about power, that power is not given and it is taken. Personally, I believe mentorship is a very important thing when it comes to mentoring young leaders. And in conjunction with mentorship, I can also say of lack of role models in the society. Because if you look at our political elite, most of them, they're not good role models. And you find that when you don't have good role models, then the issue of mentorship also arises. And you find that we have also a lack of mentors, because you can't have mentors without role models. Because these are people you aspire to be like. But if you have good examples of what not to be in our society, then it becomes a challenge. But I totally agree with you that mentorship is one of the most important aspects when it comes to we as young leaders and also as youths being given an opportunity. Allow me to also just add something small about the problem with the youth is that most of us, just as Dr. Kaluyu has said, we are shy to take up these positions, we are shy to take up opportunities, and this becomes an issue. But we need to be proactive even as the youth, because there are so many opportunities and there's so much that we as young people can. If you look at the power that social media has, it is quite massive. If we just use it in the right way, we believe that we as young people and the youth, we can make a difference. But also, just maybe to wind it up, is role models are very important in our society. Unfortunately, in Kenya, when it comes to leadership, we have a deficit. Most of our leaders will find maybe they're involved in corruption and shoddy dealings. And I love the example that you just gave about the COVID-19 millionaires, whereby you find public funds are being siphoned and people are engaged in massive corruption.
All right, thank you, Thomas. I like the points that you're bringing through, that mentorship is a big piece to this whole matrix. And I'm coming to you, Dr. Jeff, in a few. But I also like what Njoki said about collaboration between the government and the private sector. And I'll be coming to just discuss that in a bit. But we really can't ignore the fact that government is the biggest, the biggest player in this. Like it or not, even for the private sector to really thrive, government must provide a conducive environment. And so it's to mean the leaders we elect to office, plays a very big role in really channeling this direction, as it were. So Dr. Kaluyu, I really want to pose this question to you. I like what you say, that most of these young people are shy of these political seats, and they're afraid to go for these political positions. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me there are 83 political parties in Kenya. And if you look at the number of young people who have signed up and registered to be, members of one or either of these other parties, it's very, very small numbers. So, I mean, how can we really push these young people afraid of politics? And how can we push them to that place, of knowing and understanding we really must play at that league if we are to effect this change? And closely tied to that, I'd also ask, the political cycle comes once in every 5 years. So we have 5 years, they say 5 years to complain and to picket and to really go on social media and KOT a lot. But what are the options for us that we can engage in through these 5 years before the next election cycle, as far as participation as young people is concerned?
So that is very important, and it is just timely. So when I went to politics, after doing what we call the needs assessment to understand the hopes, dreams, and aspirations for our people, I had to do that first so that I can know where I place myself. You don't just jump into politics. You have to understand what is needed so that you can have strength to speak. And because of that, evidentially, because of that, I was able to argue and prosecute the case for the Kenyan people out of 19 candidates. And I chose a youth. You remember Muthiora Kariara?
Yes.
go to Lavington. I did not go to, Kilimani or Kileleshwa. I went to the inner city, low-income minorities, where the most people are. And I wanted to tell them that when youth are given opportunity, they can show up. They have the intelligentsia. They have what it takes. So I took Muthiora from Kawangware. I dusted him off. I trained him, molded him, coached him, and taught him how to present himself. And out of 19 candidates, we ranked home, number 4. 3 spaces out of the State House. I usually say we never lost. We ran out of time. If we had gone on for 3 months more, today the story will be different. I will be waking up in the State House. But that aside, when I was coming in, I noticed that there were parties, many parties you can participate. You need to understand today, a party, most of the parties are the leaders. If you form a party, people don't care what it is about a lot of times. They talk about who is leading the party. So if the party belongs to so-and-so, most people register, they go and follow that particular person. So I did not want to do that because I wanted also the freedom to speak. What I did is that I went as an independent. And you can imagine how independence performed from 19 to number 4 as an independent. I needed to speak my mind. I needed to say the logic, speak correctly, so that nobody tell me in the party, you are not supposed to say that. That is not the party position. You need to have independence of mind. And that is why today, and I've spoken to Dr. Wachira several times, and it's very difficult. Youth need their own fire to dance around. It's not that they don't want to participate, but they do not have fire to dance around. It's either this party, and if you come to this party, already as we speak, the 2022 lineup for all the parties is done. So when a youth is trying to get into it, they will be told to line up in behind for 2027 or 2032 because there are other people who have been lining up for the last maybe 10, 15 years. So how are you going to come and jump the line? My position is that the problems that we have today can't wait for 10, 15 years. There is a fierce urgency of now, and therefore we must form our own fire to dance around. And I have gone ahead to start forming a platform that I will be unveiling very soon, because I already went to 2017, created my name. If it is a matter of leading with a name, I am a household name. So we will have our own fire to dance around. You wait. That is something that needs to be spoken when the time is right. I've written a book called Timing, Engaging When It Matters the Most. So this is not the right time to say how I'm creating that kind of platform. Now, number 2, I wanted youth need to learn from the right people. Because if you ask a youth in Kenya, I want to be an MCA, member of parliament, senator, president, what they think in mind, they want to make a lot of money and they want to be able to steal if they can, because they have seen the wrong models. And that is why they came up a program called Dr. Kaluyu Leadership Academy, where they learn to the responsible way to lead and be good stewards of their nation in future. It is gaining a lot of momentum. It has been working. I mean, a lot of people have been going through it. It has been there. It has been working. So people are learning how to be independent thinkers. We learn about critical thinking, how to think critically and reason. For example, youth, they think even if they vote, it doesn't matter. Someone else will vote and things will go however they go. But there is the secret ballot. Even if somebody gives you 100,000 today and you go vote, however you vote, they will never know. They saw the idea somebody gave a lot of money. There's somebody who bought and bribed people. That is absolute nonsense, I will tell you right now. Because when you go, unless you have never voted, you go in the ballot, you write it, there's no name, there is nothing. You give me 100,000, I'll go choose whoever I want. So how am I bribed enough? So you are talking of your personal failures. And these are part of the civic education, things that are being put through in Dr. Kaluyu Leadership Academy, and people are learning. And it is not just Kenyan, it is Africa-wide. We have people from Ghana, Liberia, and other people who are part. Because if you remember Tomboya, Kenyatta, they were not just doing Kenya. They were connecting together with Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, and other people. Africa has to come together and make a force. If you make a small change in Kenya, Kenya is connected to Uganda, connected to Tanzania. You need to have people from other youth from Tanzania, Malema, other people who are coming together and they are able to push the agenda for Africa. Otherwise, people will be talking Africa, AU, and all those kind of things, and change will not happen. But individual level, they will have to come together as youth leaders and form a force, not only in their country, but in Africa coming up. So there is a lot of practical things that are happening on the ground. Don't lose hope. You are not alone. We are thinking, we are getting the message. And therefore, we are creating the solution that are real, practical, and they will be executed in the near future. So we are going forward. So don't worry about participation. It will happen. We are not just beating about the bush. Things are going to happen. They will happen. And I look forward to be on the side where things are happening and we get things done.
Amazing. I'm already sold, man. Subscribe me to that. And I like what you're saying. You know, the youth need their own fire to dance around. I mean, that's a tweetable tweet. I'm gonna tweet it after this. That's a very deep statement and true at it. And I want to come back to Dr. John Davula. You know, so most of the leaders actually who fought for the second liberation did that when they were young. When you think about the likes of the Kivuza Kibwanas, etc., they did that when they were very young. But then there's this narrative that has been peddled of late that, you know, young people who found themselves on the table to negotiate on behalf of other young people have either been compromised or co-opted. You know, they go there and they just get into the system and they really don't drive the kind of change that we sent them there to do. And this has really, and I could name names here, but I know you know these people. Think about the young leaders we have in Kenya and the kind of reputation. I see Thomas laughing because I know he's been following through such stories. And it's really a disappointment to see the young people who we've been trying to say, these are the voice, this is our voice, we push them in there, but then they end up being compromised and lacking in values. So I just want to throw this to you, Dr. John Davula. Do you think that for us to achieve that youth agenda or to drive policy that is gravitating towards the youth, do you think we need youth or young people to do that? Or can older people still do that for us? Because they say that the young people are really wanatuharibia sana. When they get in there, they're really messing it up for us. And they say these young guys don't have the impetus to lead or to make decisions, unfortunately. So what would be your take on that?
Okay, thank you for that question. And I think it's a very, very pertinent question. It's something we've mulled over as a country for a long time. What I would think is this: if a young person gets on the table and they are unable to execute their agenda, I think the problem begins with their own ideas, poverty of ideas, lack of an ideological bent, so to speak. Because if you have all these ideals that you're fighting for, then you are steadfast. You hold on steadfast to those ideas. I think the problem is the youth, and I've met so many youth who have ideas, who are willing to take this country forward, who are committed. But I think most of these kinds of youth, they feel that without resources, then they can't really get on some of these top jobs. And unfortunately, the youth who get to this level of leadership and who can make decisions, I think they have the poverty of ideals, you know, and they do it for the wrong reasons. They don't get in there originally thinking they're going to change the world or the country. They get in at the back of their mind, perhaps from presidents, perhaps from having bad role models, thinking that this is the strategy: get in and get rich quick. But I would say there's a lot of potential, and I've written a book about this: social media and elections in Kenya. There's a lot of potential, for example, on social media, and I've seen it happen. I even know one MCA who I think they were campaigning for their friend, and then their friend passed on. And so they sat as young people and they said, okay, what do we do? So one of these young men called Victor, who's an MCA right now in a bigger county, was told by his friends, you run for this seat. And they organized a social media campaign. They were raising funds on Facebook, raising funds on WhatsApp, on M-Pesa, and so on. So I think it's for the youth who are visionary to form networks and to believe in themselves and to find alternative spaces within which to drive the agenda, within, even being independent candidates. I can see like Boniface Mwangi did that, and he really ran a good race. And the youth, if they can, network among themselves, looking at the large mass that they have, then they can bring on board youth who have a very clear agenda for the country. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing, thank you, Daktari. And I like the point you're bringing up about really youth getting together and seeing how they can get into that space of collaboration. But I would also want to really appreciate some efforts that the government has brought to the table. We've heard about Kazi kwa Vijana, we've heard about the Youth Fund and some of other initiatives by government. But the truth is there's been a lot of complaints about the effectiveness, of some of these funds and monies wired to the youth. And really even the funds getting to the ground. And, one of the recent ones is a Kazi Mtaani, which I hear is paying young people 1,000 shillings per week. And if you think about a young person who is a graduate being paid 1,000 shillings per week, that's really small monies. And the question I want to throw to Njoki right now is that sustainable? Government is doing something, but I just think it's scratching surface. But we want to get to a place of sustainability. So are these initiatives, government is bringing for sustainable? And number two, I like what you mentioned about the private sector. How can the private sector come in and supplement, some of these initiatives that government is trying to bring on board as far as getting the youth fully engaged is concerned?
Yes, in regards to the Kazi Mtaani initiative, I've seen them at work. I've seen them at work whenever more so in the recent, I would say in the recent couple of weeks. They were not very visible in the past. I think there were those issues, but it is not sustainable. That's the fact. I believe what is really needed is skills. A lot of the youth, especially those who are now in between, who are going to be home for the next 6 months or so, there needs to be skills, partnerships between the private sector and these and the youth in the slums. They need skills. They're lacking skills. All that I have seen that they've been doing is a lot of sweeping the streets, sweeping the roads. If you drive around in Madare, if you drive around in Kibera, they're digging out, the trash, sweeping, but there's nothing else, that is really going on in regards to that. So I'm not sure how long this can be sustained, but what they really need is skills. They need to learn skills to be able to sustain their lives moving on. Thank you, Joe.
Right. Thank you for that, Njoki. Skills, we need skills. And I like that people like Dr. Jeff have already started walking that path when he talks about the Leadership Academy and being able to start, begin to pass some of these skills to the young people. That really gets me excited. I want to come to you, Thomas. And let's speak a bit about the National Youth Council. And really my question to you is the seriousness of the government as far as the youth agenda is concerned. The Youth Council has not had a board for the last 4 years. The National Youth Development Policy, which was brought into light in 2006, and which was supposed to be revisited every 5 years, has not been revisited. I think it is just until last week that they did revisit that. When you look at the Employment Amendment Act, and the provisions for the young people, nothing much in there. I was just reading a report by the Public Service Commission that in the 2019-2020 employment cycle, out of all those jobs advertised, the Public Service Commission only employed 1,800 young people. So from where you sit, Thomas, as a youth leader and as a young leader, do you think that government is serious about bringing the young people on the table?
Thank you, Joe, for that question. Personally, I believe the government has tried, but it hasn't done much. If you look at the Senate, we have a youth representative who is elected. And when we started this conversation, we looked at the statistics and we say that over 65% of the population are youths. But now when you look at the number of positions that the youth have in the government vis-a-vis their population, it beats the logic because there is a paradox. So for me personally, I think the government has tried, but it needs to do more, because if the youth are the majority, then it means also they need to have a bigger share even on the table, so that they can be able to be to make decisions even as they progress. Because if you have a small number sitting on the table, then it means even the decisions, it will be difficult for them to make these decisions. The other thing is also, I think the government, when the government starts, they have it has a good intention with the youth, but unfortunately there is an end which they are targeting, and that is when it comes to the general elections. This is whereby you'll find that they use the same youth that they were trying to empower for their own personal gains, you know. So for me, I think just the same way Dr. Kaluyu has said, that we need also to break ourselves from the cocoon of this older mentality and of this, for lack of a better word, the older leaders who don't want to leave power, and just form our own group. For me, I can say maybe something like a Pan-African movement for the youth, and we can be able to chant a way forward even as young people. Because if we keep on relying on the people who have been there and they don't want to leave power, then unfortunately, I think even 2027 will not be on the table. So we need also to create a path for ourselves, even as we proceed. And just to add something on that is, I have heard Dr. Kalu saying that we should not be worried and that everything is in place. So for me, I want to request him, when the right time comes, when he's forming the government, because I know God willing, one day he'll be there, he should make sure that the government has a position for prime minister. He can give me one deputy. Thank you.
All right.
Allow
Thomas,
me to say, allow me
yeah,
to
go ahead,
comment on that.
Dr. Jeff. Yes.
Yes. So that is, there's a lot of things in place, and I'm loving it. I am excited about that people are latching on to what I am saying. It's only that, as I told you, I've written quite a bit on timing, engaging when it matters the most. So sometimes you can let the talk before everything is put together, but it will, and you bet, through Dr. Washira. And I would like to ask to exchange the numbers, because I'm hearing a lot of, and I'm seeing a lot of potential here, great work that is going on, which I would like to be privileged to be part of what you guys doing. But just to make this point, as we said, you mentioned something, and I think it's Dr. Ndombula, who said that Obama, a number of people have said that power is not given, it is taken. On the opposite, it is also the same, that good deeds and action on the ground is not just a matter of waiting for the government. I would like to challenge all the leaders and those who are watching, that every time we have a Zoom or we have television, a lot of people show up in television or on radio shows and all those kind of things. I would like it to be practical for people to bring like what you all are saying, what you are doing on the ground. Because if each Kenyan did something small on the ground, we multiply that, it will have a concurrent multiplier effect, where there is a lot of development even from small parts of what we do. And why am I saying that? I'm on TV and I'm on Zoom too. I have gone forward to form Dr. Kaluyu Youth Empowerment Center, which tells the youth, gives youth information. Information is power. If you wanted to be a carpenter, you'll find a lot of youth don't even know, and I have been on the ground campaigning. They don't know where the school is, how much it is paid, who will help them to set up the government. Things that are practical, that you think they are obvious. They cannot make a business plan so that they can go get money from a bank. So we need to have these things that are practical. Remember, only 5% of the entire population in Kenya have college degree. So all these big economic formulas and big things that we are talking on TV only serves and is understood by very small number of people in Kenya. Majority are on the street, they are hawkers, they are people who are, busy operating. And those are the ones who run the country. They are the majority. That's where the life is lived. So there is Dr. Kaluyu Youth Empowerment. I also went ahead, formed Dr. Kaluyu Women Empowerment Center as well to help women to also latch onto power, to encourage that power is not just for the men. If you look at Rwanda, 80% of all the leadership in the country, including the president, 80% is women. How is Rwanda doing right now? How you like them now? They are really doing very well. I have, for the work, employment, things that are practical, Dr. Kaluyu GIS Center for Excellence, which is Geographical Information Center, where you map out disease, you map out roads, you map out where things are happening. That way you can be able to connect them. I challenge those people who are watching, the leaders who go to TV, Zoom, and everything else, to come and report practical things that they are doing that can help people on the ground, not us exchanging ideas and just saying this can be done. Everybody has an opinion, everybody can give ideas. But guess what? We need practical things on the ground. Power is taken. Also, action on the ground is taken to establish yourself as a leader, not just saying I'm a leader. I know how to do it. So do it. So that is where I want people to go, and that is my challenge. Sometimes I get feisty. So excuse me and forgive.
Amazing. I love the passion that is coming through with, man. That's a passion we need to move change in this country. And I like what you're saying. Like, let's move from those theories on paper that look so good to really applying ourselves on the ground. What have you done? And maybe this is, again, a question you can pose to, and maybe if you're even watching us, you can just even continue commenting on the chat section. What are some of the things you're doing as a young person to make sure that, your voice is being heard? And even if you're not being included on the table, what are you doing to bring your own table? I think that's I can't think of another high to end this on. And I also like what you said about if we then take that path, of everybody applying themselves, wherever they are in a practical kind of way, then we would have compounded, the effect and rippled that kind of reach that we want for the young people. Gentlemen and lady, thank you so much. That's been a very enriching, amazing session. I'd just like to give all of us an opportunity to give a parting shot. I think this time I'll go ladies first. So Njoki, then we'll go to John Davula, Thomas, and finally Dr. Jeff. Then we will land the plane. So let's just give our closing remarks. Let's give that charge to the young people watching and to the young people out there. And let's encourage them to, yes, take it by force. Take it by force. Njoki.
Well, I just wish for the youth to get out of this mentality of get rich quick. It's a disease in this country as we know it, and to be patient, because good things come when you're patient. To practice collaboration amongst themselves, and to seek partnerships where they can. I think for me, that is important, and to research, in whatever they want to do, is to research. The information is out there, so research is a big one, and basically just patience and utilize the values and morals in our society.
Amazing. Thank you, Njoki. Dr. Ndavula?
Yeah, thank you. I think for me, it's about helping the youth to understand that if they want to be leaders, they don't have to think at just at the top seat. Maybe they want to be the president or in the Senate or some of these big posts. They can begin small. Every leader who has a vision and who has achieved this great vision began small, taking small steps. And even just in your own village, what are you doing there? How are you moving the discussion forward? Which small CBO, in which small way are you being involved, even on campus? Because these are the experiences you pick along the way, and they sharpen you, they make you stronger. And even in the face of adversity or corruption, you hold this moral ground because you grew yourself. You actually established your moral standpoint when you were young, and when you had all these ideas and you tested them, and then you emerged stronger. So for me, take action now. Stop thinking that all is lost. There's something you can do, even if it's small, and that will build you up for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari. Start small, and not all is lost. Thomas?
Thank you, Joe, and allow me to appreciate everyone for this nice conversation that we have had. Just to give my parting remarks is that for all the youths that are watching out there, they just need to know that if it is to be, it is up to me. They have to tell themselves that if it is to be, it is up to me. And I love the story of the hummingbird by Wangari Maathai, when she said that I might seem insignificant, I might seem small, but I'll do the best I can, and I'll do my little thing. We should always remember that once upon a time, every lion was a cub. So it is only time, but if we position ourselves well, then I believe that we are going to make it, and we are going to bring the change that is needed. As I finish, allow me to finish by saying that not all famous people are great. All great people are famous. And how do you measure greatness? It's through service. And how do you measure service? The amount of sacrifice and commitment that we as the people take in order to transform the lives of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. If it is to be, it is up to me. Amazing. And last but not least, Dr. Jeff, land the plane, fire us up.
My fellow countrymen and the youth, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Wachira for putting this youth summit together. And I also thank Mr. Gashira for moderating this program and this meeting very well. You are a young person. You have shown you have what it takes to lead. Leadership is not about just the president. Leadership is not just about being a senator, an MP, or anything else. Leadership is leading in whichever way you can in what you are doing. You are showing that leadership. The biggest number of the leaders that you know in the world, they were never presidents. Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King. You are talking of even some of your religious leaders like Jesus Christ, Muhammad. The great leaders, Malcolm X, they were never presidents. So leadership, it is leadership. And if you are in history, born as a leader, you must go forward and start leading. Now, there comes a time where we must pull from theories and move to practice. This is where we are. I was born as in a poor village in Kitui County. My biggest dreams as a little boy were those of my grandfather, owning a lot of goats and cows and going to the field to show off the numbers myself. I dream of finishing higher education and becoming everything else I have become was never near. Even running for the highest office in the land was not even in my nearest dreams. But all that was possible. So I have gone with the poor. I've sat with the kings. So my dreams are your dreams. Your aspirations are mine. And your vision should be ours. We have a shared path that we must move forward. And today, I want to tell you, when you're born and you grow up, you go to the dancing hall. You go to the dancing field. You start dancing, being taught how to dance. At some point in life, you'll be taught to dance alone. And today, this is your dance, youth. You have learned how to dance. At the end of the life, you'll be asked, how did you dance? I'm asking you to dance the best, to take this nation to the next level before you get out of the stage, and the history will be kind to you. Similarly, if you don't dance, you don't show the skill, the history will not be kind to you. We are looking for you. You are the next in line. And sure, those who are ahead, They must go on, get out of the stage. This is how you dance. Be the solution for COVID. You think 2021, if 2020 is hard, wait 2020. 21. Actually, wait for 2021 when things start biting. I want you to critically think, position yourself as solution for those things that are likely to happen, that are hard. So I encourage you, I challenge you, and together I will be behind you to give you the push and the force that you need. We move together, we can move the forward. Mine is to thrust the flag, and I hope you follow the direction fearlessly, fiercely, and with good vision. So we will get this country together. There's nothing to fear about. And may God bless you. May God bless this nation, the great Republic of Kenya.
Amazing, amazing. Young people.
I hope the plane is down.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've landed safely and it's time to dance. So young people, as Dr. Kaluyu has said, it's your time to dance. Put on those dancing shoes and let's get into action. Gentlemen, again, and ladies, Dr. Kaluyu, Thomas, Dr. John Davula, and Joki, thank you so much. It's been an amazing, amazing discussion. And to all of us who are watching or tuning in, thank you for joining us for the Kenya Youth Summit 2020. The session was participatory decision making. And that's it for now. Again, the plane has landed. Tomorrow we'll have an amazing session on networking. So keep it locked and share this with as many young people as you know. Otherwise, from us, bye, good night, good morning again from wherever you're watching us from. God bless you, God bless Kenya, and see you soon. Let's get dancing. Bye-bye.